Evening everyone, it's Paul here. It's Sunday night. I thought I'd just do a very quick video for us. It's been an interesting week, and it was an interesting end of the week. And I think tomorrow, Monday the 24th, and this week coming could be a rather interesting week as well. So I thought I'd just do a very quick, sort of scruffy little video. Those of you who've done the Veterans Trader Project, first thing you're looking at is S&P 500 Blaine's Gift. Okay, you can see prices dropped, but at the moment we're still allowed to engage. Okay, but if I look at the S&P itself, okay, let's find that, bring that up, and look at that in a bit more depth itself. Well, if I go up to that a weekly chart, well, there you go. You can see that was going on the week. Great uptrend, gone sideways for most of the year, and then last week you can see, boom, we had a real bearish week there. And if I go down to the daily chart there, well, what do you know? Bang, we've started Wednesday, okay, and then Thursday, Friday, okay. We just had the real strong selling day. So we've gone from from Thursday on 2076 down to 1969. All right. So what's that? About 107, 108 handles on their S&P, and actually, and interestingly, down below 2,000. Okay, closed beneath 2,000. All right, and with that's kind of a significant, kind of interesting sort of level and take on that for myself. Okay, so definitely that's something we need to keep an eye on. All right, okay, it's all rolling over. Let's see if I can get the have we got the Dow Jones on here? I can just bring up very quickly as well. It's going to be pretty much the same, but I think it's kind of good for us to have a little quick look on it. So just bear with me a moment. There you go, Dow Jones. Well, yeah, what do you know? Look at that. Okay, from getting up on those highs of 1833. Okay, heading 3,300. We've come off and down beneath 17,000 now, and you can see what a really strong selling week that was. Pretty much just like the S&P. Okay, well, selling started on. Well, we've been in a downtrend because if you remember, I had a sale up here. Okay, a sell down there at about I think it was about 17,950. All right, that's what I was. I'd been looking at selling, so you can see how how it's dropped. From there, from like around about the 18,000 level down to 16,440, 16,450. Okay, that's been pretty impressive. And looking at that on the 4-hour charts, you can see that pretty much has been one-way traffic for the sort of from kind of Wednesday onwards. So it makes fascinating reading, fascinating looking there. Let's have a look at Nasdaq. You can see the same. It's pretty much the same. We're looking here at the big American indexes all the way up, and then we've had just a huge selling. Huge. Absolutely massive. If you look back at that sort of scale of that bar, okay, and bearish. We had a good sized bearish bar there back in October. Okay, in 2 weeks there, okay, about the same, but of course it came down and it bounced. What we've seen here is, okay, remember that bounced off what was the 50 here at the moment. Well, we've just gone straight through and closed beneath it. That's kind of significant. All right, so we want to be keeping an eye on that. And if you look at I had actually spoken a little bit earlier. Okay, I think on one of my other posts and blogs and stuff about talk about Nasdaq, a couple of the American. I don't really a massive sort of trader or of US stocks, but there's a few of the big ones I'll watch and have a crack at. And I talked about this on the weekly chart. This is Apple, and I was talking about had we seen like a head and shoulders pattern on Apple, and I was saying how that rolling over and breaks at the kind of like 120 level. Okay, there's a bit of a neckline there, and we had that 3 weeks ago, and it's gone, and it's continued down to about 106. All right, and realistically, I see that then once you're down there, well, maybe you're looking at maybe 100 just being a bit of a natural magnet. Okay, so definitely something to keep an eye on there. Let's bring up there. They're all pretty much similar, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, Nikkei, all right, nice uptrend, but last week's selling was pretty strong selling, just bearish across the level, all right. And I'm looking at that kind of that 19,000 level there on the Nikkei. Okay, just let's draw that in there, all right. That's looking pretty. It's looking pretty pretty tasty in terms of it's there to be attacked, and when those markets open in a relatively short space of time, we'll be ready to have a look and see how that all reacts. Now, of course, what we saw for the last couple of years is every time we've had a roll off, okay, it was just basically people bought the dip, and everyone was happy, and it made people a lot of money. But the kind of the severity of the selling, okay, has been pretty strong, and we've just basically sliced through some significant support levels across the major indexes. Okay, so it's definitely something that there's definitely something up, and you want to be on top of that. Let's have a look and see if I can get. Have I got a couple of these ones? Have I got the European ones up? That a couple of the European indexes. I'll just focus on that most. There we go, FTSE. There we go. Look at that. Okay, so this is FTSE Weekly. I mean, the FTSE has been just messy. Those of you who've been following me, I've been saying it's just been horrifically messy anyway. But what we can see is this month, that once again, that selling has just picked up. Okay, we had a really big day there. Okay, and now I'm looking at, right, okay, what I'm looking at is, well, 6100, okay, is a level of support, all right? Then you're looking at, is it the significant kind of psychological number of 6,000? So is 6100, 6,000 going to act as support, or is it just going to slice through that? And if it does and hold beneath it, then you want to be you want to be if you're long, you're wrong, basically, in those kind of in that kind of eventuality. So let's have a look at DAX. All right, DAX is the same. All right, look at that. Okay, look at that. From reaching having a fantastic run. Okay, all the way up there. Okay, from pretty much August of last year. I mean, then hitting those highs at sort of April time. All right, we were about 12,400, weren't we? Just over 12,400, and we've come back now down to we're getting down towards that 10,000 level, aren't we? And you've got to sort of ask yourself, is that going to hold? So yeah, it's all a little bit interesting there, isn't it? So let's have a little look at what have I got on here. Okay, what am I interested in? Well, euro dollar. Okay, well, we've seen a lot of strength come back into that euro, haven't we? Euro's messy, but the last week or two, okay, the dollar strength has dropped off a little bit. You can see that there's been some euro strength there. Okay, also against sterling. Okay, we've seen that we're back up at 72.50, this level here. Be interesting to see if that is resistance, or whether we get above it. Let's finish off with a little bit of gold. Okay, gold. We've been talking about dropped down to those levels, broke the 1180, 1140, got down, was holding beneath 1100, but went sideways for a bit. If I go to the daily, we've got a couple of wicks. There's obviously some buying going on, and then what we've seen over the last sort of 2 weeks or so is a move up from about 1086 to 1160. That's not an insignificant move. Okay, and it'd be interesting to see if there is all this continuing pain and anguish in the indexes, whether money's going to find its way into gold. That'll be definitely something worth to keep an eye on, ladies and gentlemen. All right, well that should be enough just to keep you posted. Tomorrow's going to be an interesting day. This week is going to be an interesting week. Normally, I don't tell people to sort of just shut up shop for August and go away. But if you're around, you want to you want to look at what's going to happen from tonight onwards, and keep your powder dry. Make sure you manage your risk. Don't do anything foolish, and have a look at what could be a very interesting week. Trade well. I'll speak to you soon. Cheers.